The world will chew you up, use you dry, and spit you back out if you let it. Not because everyone hates you, not because you're weak, not because you've got nothing to offer, but because people can sense when you're too easy to access. They can sense when you'll say yes, even when you're tired. They can sense when you'll answer the text, even after they disrespected you. They can sense when you'll forgive without consequences, explain without being heard, and give without ever asking what it's costing you. And once people realize your kindness has no protection around it, they don't treat it like a gift. They treat it like a resource. Think about it. How many times has somebody only remembered you when they needed something? They don't check on you when life is good. They don't support what you're building. They don't ask how you're doing. But the second they need a favor, money, advice, a ride, a connection, emotional support, or somebody to absorb their problems, now your phone lights up. And the worst part is, you already know what's happening. You see the name pop up, and before you even open the message, you already know it's not about you. It's about what they want from you. But you still answer. You still help. You still explain. You still give them another chance. You still act like maybe this time they'll finally value you. Then you sit there drained, angry, and confused, wondering why people keep using you. They keep using you because you keep giving them the blueprint. You show them where the door is. You leave it unlocked. Then you act shocked when they walk in and take everything they want. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He knew the world doesn't reward the man who gives unlimited access to people who never earned it. It rewards the man who understands power, silence, boundaries, consequences, and self-control. So this video isn't about becoming cruel. It's not about becoming fake. It's not about turning into some bitter man who thinks everyone is the enemy. It's about becoming harder to exploit. It's about learning why nice men get used, why good men get drained, and why your kindness keeps getting mistaken for weakness. Because until you learn this, the world will keep using you. Lock in. Most men get used because they think kindness alone will protect them. They think if they keep showing up, keep forgiving, keep being loyal, keep answering, keep understanding, and keep giving people the benefit of the doubt, eventually the world will reward them for having a good heart. But look around. That's not how people work. People don't value what's always available. They don't respect what never comes with consequences. They don't fear losing what keeps coming back no matter how badly they treat it. And that's why a lot of good men end up bitter. Not because they were too kind, but because their kindness had no structure. Your kindness isn't the problem. Your lack of control around your kindness is the problem. A good man with boundaries is respected. A good man with no boundaries becomes a resource. A good man with standards is trusted. A good man with no standards becomes an emotional trash can. A good man with consequences is taken seriously. A good man who forgives everything becomes easy to disrespect. And the modern world makes this worse because access has never been cheaper. Anyone can reach you in 2 seconds. A text, a DM, a voice note, a missed call, a comment, a notification. People can pull you into their problems while you're at work, at the gym, trying to sleep, trying to focus, or trying to build something real. And because your phone is always near you, you start feeling like you're supposed to respond to everyone instantly. That's the trap. The world trains you to be available, then punishes you for being too easy to access. Machiavelli didn't study people by listening to what they claimed to be. He studied what they did when power, insecurity, fear, desire, ego, and self-interest were involved. And once you start watching people that way, your whole life starts making sense. The friend who only calls when he needs something. The person who disrespects you, then acts shocked when you pull away. The coworker who jokes at your expense in front of people, then acts friendly when you're alone. The girl who gives you just enough attention to keep you attached, but never enough consistency to give you peace. The family member who only wants boundaries respected when they're the ones setting them. None of that is random. That's human nature showing you the rules. Rule 1 is stop giving unlimited access. Most men think access is love. They think if they're always available, always responsive, always forgiving, and always easy to reach, people will finally see their value. So they answer every call. They respond to every text. They pick up the phone even when they already know the conversation is going to drain them. They show up for people who wouldn't cross the street for them. They keep the door open for people who have already shown them what they do when they're inside. And they call that loyalty. But a lot of the time, it isn't loyalty. It's fear. Fear of being disliked. Fear of being left. Fear of being called selfish. Fear of choosing yourself and watching people punish you for it. Here's what you need to understand. Access is power. The people who get your time get a piece of your life. The people who get your attention get a piece of your mind. The people who get your emotional energy get a piece of your peace. So when you give that away to anyone who asks, you're not being generous. You're being careless with your own life. Think about the people who have unlimited access to you right now. Not the people who earned it. The people who just have it because you've never made them earn anything. They can text you at midnight and you answer. They can cancel on you twice and you still make plans. They can disrespect you and you still explain why it hurt. They can disappear when you need them and somehow still expect you to show up when they need you. That's not connection. That's imbalance. Not everyone deserves the same version of you. Some people deserve warmth. Some people deserve distance. Some people deserve silence. Some people deserve nothing at all. Machiavelli would tell you that people respect what they can lose. If they know they can disrespect you and still get the same access, they won't fear losing you. If they know they can lie and still get your trust, they won't value your trust. If they know they can drain you and still get your energy, they won't protect your energy. That's why unlimited access destroys respect. You're teaching people there's no cost to mistreating you. And once they learn that, they'll keep spending you. Rule 2 is stop explaining yourself to people who benefit from misunderstanding you. This is where a lot of nice men lose all their power. They think the right explanation will fix everything. So they write paragraphs, they defend their intentions, they explain why they're hurt, they explain why they changed, they explain why they pulled back, they explain why they need respect, they explain why they're not being selfish, they explain why they're tired, and every time they do it, they think they're creating clarity. But sometimes all they're doing is handing the other person more material to twist. You've probably been in one of those conversations where no matter how calmly you say it, they still don't get it. You explain the point once, then twice, then 3 different ways, and somehow, by the end, you're the one apologizing. You started the conversation trying to address how they hurt you, and now you're defending your tone, your timing, your attitude, your memory, your reaction, and your character. That wasn't a conversation. That was a trap. Some people don't want to understand you. They want to keep you talking. They want to keep you defending. They want to keep you emotionally open long enough to pull you back into the same pattern. That's why silence is so powerful. Silence breaks the loop. Silence says, I'm not auditioning for your understanding anymore. Silence says, you already know what you did. Silence says, I'm done wasting words where the pattern already spoke. This doesn't mean you become childish. It doesn't mean you ghost everyone. It doesn't mean you never communicate. It means you stop over-explaining to people who keep proving they're not listening. There's a difference between a conversation and a drain. A conversation moves toward clarity. A drain keeps pulling more energy out of you while nothing changes. If the conversation keeps requiring you to explain your worth, explain your boundaries, explain your pain, and explain basic respect, it's probably not a conversation anymore. It's a drain. And a man with self-respect knows when to stop pouring. Rule 3 is stop forgiving without consequences. Nice men love the idea of forgiveness because it lets them avoid the hard part. They forgive because they don't want conflict. They forgive because they're scared of losing people. They forgive because they want to believe the person really means it this time. They forgive because they don't want to feel cold. But forgiveness without consequences doesn't create peace. It creates a pattern. If someone hurts you and nothing changes, they didn't learn respect. They learned that your pain has no price. Think about how many people in your life apologize the same way every time. They know the words, they know the face, they know the tone. They know how to sound disappointed in themselves just long enough for you to soften. Then 2 weeks later, they're back doing the same thing. Same disrespect, same excuse, same damage, new apology. And you're sitting there calling it forgiveness when it's really permission. You can forgive someone and still remove their access. You can let go of anger and still never trust them the same way again. You can wish someone well and still decide they don't belong close to you. That's maturity. A lot of people think forgiveness means letting someone back into the same seat they lost. It doesn't. Sometimes forgiveness means you stop hating them, but you also stop handing them the weapon they used against you. Machiavelli understood consequences. Power doesn't come from how much you tolerate. It comes from what you refuse to tolerate again. If somebody keeps crossing a line and you keep moving the line, you don't have a boundary. You have a suggestion. And people don't respect suggestions when disrespect benefits them. They respect consequences. Quiet ones, calm ones, final ones. You don't need to yell. You don't need revenge. You don't need to prove how hurt you are. You just need to stop rewarding disrespect with the same version of you. Rule 4 is stop confusing being needed with being valued. This one hits a lot of men harder than they expect. Sometimes people don't value you. They need what you provide. They need your advice. They need your attention. They need your money. They need your emotional support. They need your loyalty. They need your ability to make their life easier. But needing you isn't the same as valuing you. A person can need your help and still not respect you. A person can need your presence and still take you for granted. A person can need your energy and still give you nothing back. And a lot of men get trapped there because being needed feels good at first. It makes you feel important. It makes you feel like you matter. It makes you feel like someone depends on you. But after a while, you start noticing the truth. They don't ask how you're doing. They don't check on your goals. They don't support your wins. They don't notice when you're tired. They just know you're the person they call when life gets heavy. That's not value. That's usage. You need to watch what happens when you stop providing. Do they still show up when you're not useful? Do they still respect you when you say no? Do they still care when you're the one who needs support? Do they still value you when access to you becomes harder? That's when the truth comes out. Most people don't expose themselves when you're giving. They expose themselves when you stop. And this is why you need to track patterns, not just feelings. Because when you're emotionally attached, your memory starts protecting the fantasy. You remember the one good moment and ignore the 10 disrespectful ones. You remember the apology and forget the repeat behavior. You remember what they said, not what they keep doing. So start keeping receipts in your own mind. Not because you're bitter, because you're finally being honest. Who only calls when they need something? Who disappears when you're not useful? Who acts different when you say no? Who gets uncomfortable when your boundaries get stronger? Who respects your growth? And who only liked you when you were easier to control? Most guys don't get used because they're blind. They get used because they keep explaining away what they already saw. Rule 5 is stop mistaking attachment for loyalty. Loyalty is powerful when it comes from strength. Attachment is dangerous when it comes from fear. A loyal man chooses to stand by someone because they've earned it. An attached man stays because he's scared of what happens if he leaves. And a lot of men don't want to admit they're not being loyal. They're being dependent. They stay in friendships that drain them. They stay loyal to people who secretly compete with them. They keep giving chances to people who would never give them the same grace. They stay around people who make them feel smaller because walking away feels too painful. Then they call it loyalty because loyalty sounds better than fear. But if your loyalty is making you betray yourself, it's not loyalty anymore. It's a cage. You can see this everywhere now. A guy stays in a group chat where everyone clowns him, but he says, "Those are my boys." A man keeps chasing a woman who only gives him attention when she's bored, but he says, "I'm just loyal." Someone keeps helping a friend who never pays him back, never checks on him, never supports him, but he says, "That's just how I am." No, that's not just how you are. That's how you've been trained to abandon yourself. Machiavelli would never tell you to attach your peace to people who keep proving they can't protect it. He understood that power belongs to the person who can walk away, not because walking away is always the answer, but because the ability to leave protects you from becoming a prisoner. If you can't leave, you can be controlled. If you can't say no, you can be used. If you can't pull back, you can be drained. If you can't detach, you can be owned. Rule 6 is stop trying to prove you're a good person. This is one of the biggest traps in the world. People can control you if they know you're addicted to being seen as good. All they have to do is make you feel selfish, make you feel cold, make you feel like you changed, make you feel like you're not the same person anymore. And suddenly you start giving again just to prove you're still kind. You start explaining again just to prove you're still fair. You start tolerating again just to prove you're not heartless. Don't be that guy. A man who needs everyone to see him as good will eventually betray himself to protect that image. He'll say yes when he means no. He'll keep peace with people who are destroying his peace. He'll let disrespect slide because he doesn't want to look dramatic. He'll stay too long because leaving makes him feel guilty. That's not goodness. That's approval addiction. And modern people know exactly how to weaponize that. They'll say, "You switched up." They'll say, "You think you're better than everybody now." They'll say, "You used to be different." They'll say, "I guess you don't care anymore." What they really mean is, you used to be easier to access. Being good doesn't mean being endlessly available. Being good doesn't mean being easy to guilt. Being good doesn't mean letting people cross your lines while you smile through it. A good man can say no. A good man can walk away. A good man can disappoint people. A good man can close the door. The difference is he does it from self-respect, not cruelty. Rule 7 is stop reacting to bait. Some people only feel powerful when they can pull you out of character. They throw a jab and wait for your face to change. They act distant and wait for you to chase. They make a disrespectful comment and wait for you to defend yourself. They bring up something sensitive and wait for you to lose control. And the second you react, they know they still have access to your nervous system. You've seen this happen. Someone says something slick in a group, and you instantly feel heat in your chest. Someone leaves you on red, and now you're checking your phone every 5 minutes. Someone questions your decision, and now you're explaining your whole life plan to a person who doesn't even have one. Someone tries to guilt you, and now you're apologizing for having a boundary. That's bait. And if you keep biting, don't be shocked when people keep fishing. Emotional control is dangerous. Not because you don't feel anything, but because you don't hand people a remote. Somebody can be disrespectful, and you can still stay calm. Somebody can misunderstand you, and you can still let them. Somebody can try to guilt you, and you can still say no. Somebody can try to rush you, and you can still take your time. That pause is power. That pause is where the old you dies. Machiavelli understood that reactions reveal weakness. The more easily someone can make you angry, defensive, desperate, or afraid, the more control they have over you. But when your reaction disappears, their tactic starts looking stupid. They throw the bait and nothing happens. They try to pull you into drama and you don't enter. They try to make you prove yourself and you let them think whatever they want. That's when people realize you're not as easy to move anymore. Rule 8 is stop being instantly available. This is where most men lose more power than they realize. They think being used is always about people calling them, texting them, asking for favors, or pulling them into drama. But before people ever control your energy, your phone trains you to give it away. Every notification teaches you to respond. Every message teaches you to check. Every like teaches your brain to look for approval. Every random scroll teaches your mind to abandon the mission for a quick hit of stimulation. And after a while, you're not even choosing your attention anymore. You're just reacting. That's why you can sit down to work on something important and somehow end up checking your phone 20 times in 1 hour. That's why you can promise yourself you're done texting someone, then still check if they posted. That's why one message can change your whole mood. That's why one notification can pull you out of your workout, your work, your sleep, your peace, and your purpose. If you want to stop being used, you need to stop being so easy to access. That starts with your attention. Your attention is the gate. If people can access your attention whenever they want, they can access your emotions whenever they want. And if they can access your emotions, they can steer you. This is why most men can't stay locked in. Their mission is constantly being interrupted by people, apps, messages, and distractions that don't deserve that kind of access. That's why the K-Safe Time locking container makes sense here. You put your phone inside, set the timer, and lock it away while you work, train, read, journal, or reset your mind. It removes the option. And sometimes that's exactly what a man needs. Not another motivation quote, not another promise that tomorrow he'll be more disciplined. A real physical barrier between him and the thing stealing his focus. Because if you can't go 1 hour without checking your phone, don't act shocked when people can pull you out of character with one text. If you're always available to the screen, you're always available to distraction. And if you're always available to distraction, you're never fully locked in on your mission. So instead of letting the world control your time, take your time back. I've left a link to where you can grab the K-Safe Time locking container down in the description below, so you don't have to go scrolling around looking for it. Scroll down, take control of your time, and lock in your discipline today. The link's in the description. Rule 9 is become kind, but never harmless. This is the rule that brings everything together. The goal isn't to become evil, it's not to become cold. It's not to become one of those bitter men who got hurt once and made that his whole personality. That's not power, that's pain wearing armor. The goal is to become a good man with teeth, a man who can be generous but not drained, a man who can be loyal but not owned, a man who can forgive but not forget the pattern, a man who can care but not collapse, a man who can love but not beg. Nice men get destroyed because they're often good without strength. They have empathy but no boundaries. They have patience but no consequences. They have loyalty but no detachment. They have kindness but no self-respect. So the world learns that their goodness has no guard. And anything unguarded eventually gets taken. A dangerous man in the right way is different. He doesn't need to threaten people. He doesn't need to act tough. He doesn't need to announce that he changed. People feel it in his behavior. He doesn't overexplain. He doesn't chase. He doesn't reward disrespect. He doesn't negotiate with repeated patterns. He doesn't answer every call. He doesn't keep proving he's good to people committed to using his goodness against him. He moves with warmth, but there's a line. And once that line is crossed, access changes. That's the part most people miss. The world doesn't need you to become less kind. It needs you to become more selective with your kindness. Give it to people who respect it. Give it to people who return it. Give it to people who don't weaponize it against you. But stop handing your best energy to people who keep showing you they're only there to take. That's not love. That's not loyalty. That's not being a good man. That's abandoning yourself and calling it virtue. This is psychological looks-maxing. Most guys think looks-maxing is just skin, jawline, hair, clothes, body, and scent. Those things matter, but if your mind is easy to guilt, easy to bait, easy to pressure, and easy to use, you're still weak. You can look sharp and still move like a man with no frame. The real upgrade is internal. Boundaries, silence, detachment, emotional control, selective access, consequences, the ability to stay kind without letting kindness turn you into a victim. So here's what you do today. Pick the one place where you've been leaking the most power. Maybe you've been over-explaining, maybe you've been forgiving too fast, maybe you've been saying yes when you mean no, maybe you've been too available, maybe you've been reacting to bait, maybe you've been calling attachment loyalty. Whatever it is, start there. Don't try to change everything overnight. Just stop rewarding the one pattern that keeps weakening you. Because the second you stop giving power to what drains you, your life starts getting quieter. And that quiet is going to feel strange at first. You might feel guilty, you might feel cold, you might feel like you're becoming someone else. Good, you are. You're becoming the version of yourself that people can't handle the same way anymore. The people who benefited from your lack of boundaries will call it arrogance. Let them. The people who used your kindness will call it coldness. Let them. The people who had unlimited access will act shocked when the door closes. Let them. Machiavelli knew the truth. People don't just respond to goodness. They respond to power, incentives, consequences, absence, strength, silence, and self-respect. If you don't understand that, your kindness becomes a tool other people use against you. But once you do understand it, everything changes. You stop begging to be valued. You stop explaining your worth. You stop trying to prove you're good. You stop confusing being needed with being loved. You stop living like every person deserves access to you. The world will keep using you until you learn this. Kindness without boundaries is weakness. Loyalty without standards is dependence. Forgiveness without consequences is permission. And love without self-respect is just another way to disappear. I've studied psychology for years, and these 5 tips separate men who consistently improve themselves from men who stay stagnant and stuck. Drop a comment and let me know which tip hit the hardest. If this video opened your eyes, smash the like button. And if you're serious about investing in yourself and your future, become a channel member. This directly funds our high impact content and rewires your mindset instead of wasting your time with the basic advice everyone else gives you. Most creators give you surface level tips. We give you the actual system to improving yourself. Lastly, make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications. Most guys consume content but never commit to the journey. They're scared to take the steps necessary because they're not serious about bettering themselves. They're happy staying invisible, staying average, staying predictable. But you, I know you're different. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe and become a member today, and let's go beyond betterness.